Hello everybody. I might be a little dirty. I don't know. Just got done power washing the Pioneer and got a day's worth of playing and a day's worth of cleaning. But I got most of the mud off. But I'm going to get back to work on the tubing bender. And I went ahead and I skipped a couple steps from filming. But I went ahead and cut one of these back off and slid the square or rectangle tube in there that I had forgot to add before I tacked everything together. So I fixed that mistake, and I just went ahead and welded it to the bushing there that's going to pivot on. And I thought, well, that was pretty much towards the end of the night, so I just went ahead and threw some paint on it so it could dry, but be dry by the time I come down. But I can't really do anything else with it for right now, because my welds were a little big, and so my 3/8 bolts, they fit just down in there perfect to stay, but they won't turn. So I'm going to get some 3/8 socket head caps bolts to put in there, and then I can put the air cylinder on. But I need to get back to work on the die, so I need to make, I got a piece around here somewhere that's going to be the clamp, sticks off the end, and so now I need to make the saddle that goes around the pipe that holds it to the clamp. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Found me a piece of 3/8 by, I think it's 1.5 inch flat bar, and I'm going to try to bend it here in the press and see if I can't make a U out of it. I think it's going to work. It ought to get real close anyhow, and if I have to, I'll use some heat to finish it up. Yeah, I don't really have a good place to sit you guys. I don't know if you can see much from here. Let's see how we do. Well, it's moving. See what kind of bend we get out of it. I won't be able to get the whole 180 unless I cut it off. And I still probably won't get all of it, but I'll get real close. Ain't hit nothing yet. Against the jack. But that worked. That worked pretty dang slick. Wish I could just go ahead and finish pushing it the rest of the way. It'd be almost 180 by the time I get. By the time I get that on down there. I don't know if I can let that up, have it stay put, and put a spacer in there, get a little more. All right, you can see it's working pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this side off so it'll clear the jack there where it keeps on the hip. And then I think I'm going to add a couple pieces of angle iron to my channel here to close it up a little bit more so it'll squeeze that on around. Hope I did that right. Add a little tension on her. Gotta go a little further. Alright, I got it pinched up enough, running it down between the channel there, that I could lay it in there flat ways and go ahead and bend it on over. I got it just a little bit past, but it'll spring back a little, so I'm going to see how much it springs back, if I need to go a little further or what. But worked out pretty good. It's pretty close. I think the top's just a hair longer than the bottom, but it'll be alright. See how much it springs back. Quite a bit. Gonna have to go a little further. That might not be too bad. Looks pretty good to me. I think that'll do. I don't want it to be tight around the tubing anyhow, because that'll just make it more of a pain to get the pieces in and out when we're bending. I think that'll work. All right, guys. I finally remembered to pick up the socket head bolts for that. So I'm gonna throw those in there and tighten it down, see whether my idea works. Or at least whether or not it'll clamp down any. I mean, I won't know whether it really works until I get some tubing to bend. But I think we're just gonna throw one in the middle and see how it works. See how much one will do. I mean, there's plenty of slop in there right now, so I ought to be able to tell if it tightens up enough. Can't move it. Oh yeah. I don't even think I need the other 5 bolts. Yeah, that worked good. Tightened it right up. Now I guess the only thing to do is finish everything else up so I can get some tubing. Try this puppy out. But I'm going to throw the other 4 bolts in just for kicks and giggles. I got them and all. Plus it'll look cooler. There we go, and I didn't crank on those hardly at all, so if it moves when I'm bending, I'll just tighten them up some more and see where we go from there. Alright, I also got part of my block done. Got a hole drilled in there, and then I threaded it and countersunk this side, put a nut on it just to give me a little more surface area so I ain't leaving a dimple in the tubing when I tighten it up. Plus it should help keep from burging up the thread, so if I ever need to take that bolt out I can. But recess the nut so it'll go back in there and I can put the tubing up against it and I can throw my clamp around it and put the pin in. I also got my 7/8 drill bit so I can get some holes drilled. That's what it takes for these pins. So I'm gonna get stuff set up, figure out where I'm gonna drill my hole, and get some holes drilled. like butter. Now the moment of truth. Does it line up? So far so good. Just got to drill that last hole. Everything fits. A little bit of room. Alright. Get her set up, drill that last hole. Alright. I ran into a couple issues, which is no big deal. I mean, I wanted to cut them off anyhow, but the bolts were hitting the lift arm, or not the lift arm, but the bending frame when they pass through there. But as you can see, they don't hit now, so got that taken care of. That one there, well, just, I guess it's probably because it's leaned out a little bit. There's a little bit of play in that bushing in the top. It lets the things wiggle a little bit. The other thing is, these spacers here weren't quite long enough. They were, with just the spacers in there, that let this bushing and this top arm drop down, which cut into some of my clearance for my bolts here. But it also, you know, let the bushing drop out, so it wasn't all the way seated, and it had a lot more play in it than what it does now. But I mean, you can still see it's got quite a bit of play in there. It's not a very tight fit. But so I just put a couple washers on top there. I don't know if you can see those up in there or not. There we go. A couple washers up in there, and that pushed the bushing up into the frame a little further, tightened it up a little more than that. And I had to flip these bolts over because they stuck out far enough. They were dragging on the tabletop. But I mean, no big deal. It'll still work. So I figured out my clamp. I'm going to get it welded up. And that'll be the next thing, is get it welded onto the die. And we're moving right along. Then I'm going to have to, I didn't mount the cylinder far enough in to just hook it right straight to the this bolt here through here, like a lot of people do. But that's no big deal. I'm just going to cut out a couple pieces on the plasma table to go over these two bolts and stick out, so I can just drop a pin in, and that'll fix that deal right up. Alright, so I'm gonna get this die out of here, get it cleaned off, get it set up, and get this block welded on. Alright, I got everything cleaned up. Did grind me a couple nice bevel all the way around for a little more surface area to weld to. So put the root pass down in there, and probably cap pass should be good. And got it pretty well lined up. Get the welder set up. I did goof up. I mean, it's not really a goof up, but if I'd have known back then what I know now, I'd have moved this hole up a little bit higher. But I was trying to keep it close to the die. Just figured that would be better, but with the stuff in the way and everything, it would have been better to raise it up a little bit. But that's all right. It'll work. Pretty sure it'll work this way too. I guess we'll find out together. don't think it even moves. Alright, I'm going to let her cool with the clamps on and hope she stays. What's up, everybody? It's a new day. It's been a few days since I've been working on this. I'm not sure where I left off, but I cut out a couple plates to use to attach the bending arm to the cylinder. I cut them out like 0.765 or something like that, and these rods are just about 3/4 the same, so I even ran this 3/4 inch bit through them and it still just didn't leave enough room, so I got to get them enlarged just a little bit because this is a 3/4 bit and it fits fine. These pins measure 3/4, but they're just a little bit too tight. So let's see, I don't know if I can clean up the edges a little bit, if that's all it needs. Then get after it. That's all that one needed. Down there still doesn't want to go, so I'm going to clean that up a little more. They look so much better once you chamfer the edge a little bit. Little rotary file and the drill action should do it. It don't need much. There we go, that'll work. Alright, there's the gist of it. I haven't got everything tightened down yet because I gotta pull back apart and paint the pieces. And I'm going to make a pin for here instead of using this bolt. This pin came with the bender and it was to drop into the handle that you ratchet it. So I think I'm going to throw it in the lathe and just turn this down small enough to drop in there and use that for that pin. But figured I'd hook the ear up and see if it worked. At least without bending anything. Make sure everything, all the clearances worked. Looks like she works.